chat. So I'm going to mute myself, and the floor is yours, Lyndsie. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Melanie. So first of all, Melanie, you have just been a ray of sunshine in my world since I met you. And thank you so much for having me here and for introducing me to so many women. My passion truly is just to share all the nerdy stuff that I know in as simple a way as possible. And so, yeah, so you just giving me the floor tonight is just a huge honor. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to get to know many of you ladies tonight. This is going to be a really interactive session. So you're going to be kind of going back and forth from muting yourself to unmuting yourself a lot. So you'll be very familiar with where that mute button is. So as Mel said, we're going to talk about the 5 basics around just getting started with social media for business. So many of the common reasons I put them here, why business owners aren't on social media or aren't feeling happy with their social media presence. And I'm going to get you guys to share some of these because it's really helpful just to hear other people say the things that they're struggling with. It makes us feel better. It helps us to understand that we're not alone. And it also helps us to get that camaraderie and that community feeling around finding the answers. So when I've taught over 60 women now, a marketing school that I teach, and it's free. And these are some of the most common things that they say when they come into the school. So they don't know how to actually post on the apps. They just don't even know where to start, like what to actually even hit, right? They're literally frozen with, I have no idea where to start. And for a lot of us, Googling it isn't natural yet. We're still not there. We don't naturally think, oh, I'll Google that problem. Or we don't even know what to put into a Google search to Google our problems. So it's very common. If that's you, you're not alone. For others, it's that their message isn't clear. They just don't know what to say. They're literally tongue-tied. The message isn't clear. They don't know what to say. I apparently wanted to put that twice because it's there twice. I don't know why. Not comfortable sharing personal information, and stories can be a big part of the holdup with social media. And then don't know who I'm talking to, like who is my ideal client. You're not alone. We all struggle at first. And the best thing to do is what you're doing right now. Get around other people that want to learn the same things you want to learn. Because as you learn things, someone else might learn something that you didn't, and they'll be able to share that with you and save you time and effort from going out and finding it. So huge pat on all of your backs for showing up today, especially amidst all the other things I'm sure that's on your mind right now. You guys are putting yourselves and your businesses first, and that is ultimately helping you serve the people that you want to serve, and that's why you started your business. So congratulations on being fantastic fempreneurs. So I'd like you guys, whoever's comfortable, just to share.
I have always wanted to help people. So I had discovered that in my previous line of work as an office manager in a naturopathic clinic, what really kind of filled me up at the end of the day was when I did any sort of organizing within the clinic. So, you know, in the treatment rooms, I was noticing the doctors were leaving their rooms frequently. And I was kind of curious, like, why are they always leaving? And it turns out they were just missing supplies. So, you know, for me, I had gone in on a weekend and, you know, streamlined all the treatment rooms so that they had all the supplies that they needed. Everything was labeled, and they could find things quick at hand. And, you know, it was in that moment, I just sort of did that naturally because that's just where my brain goes. But I realized when I came in on Monday, and none of the docs knew I was doing that. They came in and they were wowed by it, and the impact that little thing that I did made on their job. It made them look, you know, more professional even to their patients. It made them more efficient. It allowed them to spend more time in their appointment with their patient because they're not having to leave the room. So, you know, it was in that moment that I realized that that's something that I'm passionate about, and seeing the joy in my colleagues' faces and, you know, their shoulders kind of like, oh, okay, I don't have to stress about these things. That's what kind of filled me up, and realized that that's, you know, in years later, realized when I wanted to start my own business that this is what I was meant to do.
One more?
I'll share my story. I was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of years, and I felt like my life was sort of lacking purpose. I was homeschooling 4 kids, and I just felt like I needed to do something that was me. And I never realized that this was a profession until I met someone at a birthday party, and she told me what she did, and I was just like people do this and get paid for it, and I thought that was super cool. And yeah, just like the other ladies have said, when I am finished with someone's house, they're like, how did you do this? And for me, it's always been, I walk into a room And to me, it's a puzzle, and the pieces are all here, and I can start seeing how it all fits together. And it's like this thing in my brain where I just, like, I have to go put it back together kind of thing. So very rewarding. Awesome.
I love how you said that. The puzzle analogy, I've never heard it explained like that before. That's cool. I am a fly by the seat of my pants, throw things at the wall, see if they stick kind of girl. And when I started figuring out what was working with that, I just wanted to share it with people. So you guys are kind of getting the cream of the crop today. You're getting the stuff that works. It doesn't work for everybody, but it's worked for me. And there were a lot of things that didn't. So, when you do something long enough and you start to see those patterns of, oh, that actually works, like it gets exciting, right? Just probably some tips and tricks that you guys could share a presentation like this with all your clients that are sitting at home right now, right? And share with them those basic things. So this is the first thing that we talk about in Fempreneur Marketing School. And it was the first big mindset shift for me. And it was the idea that marketing and selling are not actually the same thing. That selling is something that has to be done whether or not there's a relationship there because there's a financial need. And marketing is something that we do to build relationships. And the best way to build relationships is through having conversations with people and through opening those conversations by asking great questions. And this is something that I learned, luckily, when I was super young. And I was actually in Amway at the time. I moved from my small town of Dawson Creek up to down to Vancouver. And I was, this little fish in a big sea. I was this small town redneck girl in this big city, and I had older siblings who were all in Amway for whatever reason. I don't think any of them are anymore. I sure am not. I'm nothing against it. But the number one thing I gained from that experience was reading this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because it was like this whole idea that nobody cares what we want, right? That no one gives a crap about our financial goals or anything, because humans are inherently selfish. It's part of how we've survived for thousands of years, right? So when we go out onto social media and we talk about what we want, it can be a bit of a put off. And it doesn't mean that we never want to share personal information, because we absolutely do. But we kind of get there in a process, and through the free marketing school that I offer, it's 6 weeks. And we do eventually get there to talking about ourselves, but it's kind of part of a process. And the process has to start with asking great questions. So I was a hairdresser, and I still am, but I was a hairdresser only for 8 years. I had a mobile beauty company, and I learned really quickly how much people love it when you ask them questions about what they're telling you about, right? So they start telling you something, and then you keep asking them for more details about it. People love that. And I eventually learned how to not fake it, and I actually started becoming interested in people, like genuinely interested in them. And so the marketing versus selling thing is really putting marketing on the one side and thinking of relationships and conversation and service. And of course, the keywords that we want to use for maximum attraction in a headline, or, on Instagram, for those of you who are on Instagram, you can only see a couple lines of text on a post, and then you have to actually click it to see more. If those first 2 lines of text don't say something about you or you might lose people. Because if you instantly start talking about I and me, if you don't have a relationship with that person yet, and that's the first post they've ever seen of you, they might not stick around. So I strongly encourage you, especially when you're at least in half of your posts, to make those posts all about you and getting to know those people. And then maybe your other half of post can be just for fun and behind the scenes, and you're taking your dog for a walk, or you saw something funny and you're sharing it, or you're educating them and you're telling them a personal story, kind of a parable like Jesus did, and you're talking about yourself because you want to help them. But in the other half of your post, it needs to be very clear that you're there to serve them, and using the words you and your are really huge for that keywords for maximum attraction. Does anyone have?
So I had a question, Lyndsie. So are you talking about like where you're saying to somebody, I know this is what you're struggling with. I know this is your problem. And this is sort of the transformation that you can expect. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Marketing is, here's your problem. Here's the transformation that I can offer.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. That's a great way to do it. Absolutely. I would caution you in starting a post, especially on Instagram, because of that limited amount of text that we have, with the words I know. Do you know what I'm saying? I would start that with "do you" and ask a question. That's
Right.
just a little shift, but this you're getting this, you're going the same direction. It's just a different way of saying it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the question also opens the door for conversation,
Yeah.
for engagement. Okay, thank you.
Precisely. So it sounds like it's making sense. Anyone else want to jump in with a question, or anyone need anything clarified? I know I said I want to save the questions to the end, but at this point, I want to make sure that you guys like have the floor for a second here, so that I don't start going down a path and you're like, what? This makes sense. This is the mindset behind the marketing, and the marketing versus selling thing kind of all on one page. I'm gonna stay here for a bit though and keep going if you guys are with me. Nodded heads. Cool. Thumbs up. Sweet. All right, so now I want to talk a little bit about specifically where we've already talked about Instagram, but I suspect that many of you maybe haven't even gone down that path yet because you're here and you're learning about Instagram basics. So we're not even going to talk about Instagram for the next little bit, except for your bio. If you do have a bio on Instagram, you don't have a lot of characters, you don't have a lot of space there to talk about what you're doing and how you're serving. So try to ask a great question, or make sure that they know who you're talking to, right? And if you don't have a niche market and you're not really sure who you're talking to on social media, we're not necessarily going to get there tonight, but we're going to go down that path a little bit. And I'm of course available to you guys after tonight. So one thing that I wasn't planning on talking about today is LinkedIn, because I don't really teach LinkedIn stuff in my free marketing course. It's something that I teach more one-on-one with people who really just need it. But LinkedIn, given what's happening in the world right now, is so important. I'm just going to give you kind of a high-level speech about LinkedIn, and you can reach out to me after and ask if you need more info. But like, LinkedIn is your 24/7 online resume. So if you were to hand in a resume, whether it be to a potential client for organizing or for maybe getting a job, whatever that may be, whatever that would look like, that's what your LinkedIn should look like right now. It should be accurate. It should be up to date. It should have a professional photo, not a selfie, like the kind of professional, stuff that you would want on your resume. That's what your LinkedIn should look like. Because people aren't doing anything really face-to-face right now, it's really, really important to have your LinkedIn profile up to date. And so these kind of marketing versus selling mindset, all this mindset stuff, this needs to come out in your LinkedIn about section. So it's kind of it's actually the thing that they read more than they actually look at when and where did they work and the timeline. They actually read that first blurb. It's kind of like the About Me page of your website, and it should actually be the same. If you have a website, you should literally be able to take the About Me paragraph and put it into your LinkedIn. And it shouldn't be about I this and I whatever. It should be about like, you and your, and how do you serve people, right? A little bit of I is okay because it is about you, but it should definitely say like, these are the types of people that I am passionate about serving, and these are the types of problems they're experiencing that I can help them with. So Facebook, if you have a professional Facebook page, or we call that a Facebook page, which of course, when you start a Facebook page, you can say I'm a business, or I'm a charity, or I'm a community organization, whatever you want to choose from their options. Then when you get into your Facebook page, it's like a website in the sense that you have that one section that is called About, and you can put this same. So if you write this once and you get some friends to help you, like, what should this sound like? How am I going to position myself as an expert in my field, and also someone who really cares deeply about serving? Once you've written this amazing paragraph, and definitely get help with it from, the women that you see here and anyone else in your world who is a entrepreneurial woman. Once you have that paragraph, make sure that it is definitely on your About section of your Facebook and your LinkedIn. And if you have a website, it's there too. And if you have an Instagram account, you want to get like the most brief, punchiest sentence or maybe two from it and put it there, because you don't have a lot of space there. So that's my sort of high-level overview of why LinkedIn is important right now, but also the language that you use is going to position you as someone who's about building relationships and about serving people where they're at versus just selling to them and then moving on. You become a relationship-based businesswoman instead of a transactional-based salesperson. You're building relationships with people that you want to serve for years and years to come. You don't necessarily want to be like, I'm here and then I'm gone and I'm chasing the next sale. And we can do a good job of positioning ourselves that way by just choosing words carefully. And sometimes thinking of something you want to say and saying it in 2 different ways, and then messaging it to one of the women you see here, or an entrepreneurial women in your life, and saying, hey, which of these 2 things would grab you more? Right? And getting a little bit of help with your marketing, reaching out and asking for help. All right, let's move on. Okay, so how do I attract my ideal clients on social media? We've talked about this a lot, but clearly communicating with the right people on social media can be really hard if you don't know who you're talking to. So we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. I want you guys to take about 3 minutes and put pen to paper and sort of write down some key characteristics of your ideal client. It could be age, gender, it could be, geographical location. Maybe you want people really close to you, a particular business that they're in. For example, I know one of the girls that I met through your organization, she specializes in law firms, and another one that I know, she specializes in moving people and helping them get organized pre and post move. So like getting really specific about who you want to serve. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to just do some brain dumping on paper and describing that person, so that when you're talking to them on social media, you kind of understand their pain and problems. Everybody good for take a 3-minute pen to paper? Awesome. Okay. All right, and we're back. I'm going to ask you guys to share a little bit about what you just wrote down in a couple minutes. If you happen to want to, that would be fabulous. And if not, that's fine too. So knowing who you're talking to on social media is a big part of it. So when we go out onto social media, quite often we just don't know what to say. And it really helps us to figure out what to say when we know, who that person is, and we think back to some clients that we've served. Like when I first started working with my business coach, and I love sharing this story because it's really pivotal for me. And I hired this particular business coach because he was a 3-time author, and I wanted to write my first book. I wanted to share a lot of my life story in the book, but I didn't want it to be like a memoir or a novel. Like I wanted to share, business and money tips, because I'm a financial consultant as well. So I wanted it to be a book about money, but I didn't really know who I was going to be talking to in the book. So the first thing my business coach helped me figure out was, who is this book for? And we wanted the book to be for someone that I actually like working with and that I'm actually good at working with. So what he did was he said to me, well, think about, some of your favorite clients and what are the commonalities. And of course, I started to think of all my favorite clients who were moms, and they were in their 40s. And at the time I was in my early 30s. And he came up with the title, The 39 Forever Mom. So my first book was called Money and the 39 Forever Mom, and it was all about personal finance for moms. And that positioned me as someone who works with moms and helps them with their money. And that's kind of just how my social media started to take off, was because I started to talk to a specific group of people on my Facebook. I didn't have Instagram for years until after that. Just Facebook and LinkedIn. I was talking to moms. I was talking to them about how to teach their kids about money. I was talking to them about how to budget better. I was talking to them about the need for them to understand investments and all those kind of things. And it just started to flow out of me as soon as I knew who I was talking to. But if I hadn't sat down with my coach and wrote down a whole list of those characteristics and those things that I liked about my favorite clients, the ones that I would clone, I would have never known. They say if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. So it was helpful for me to hire that coach that I absolutely couldn't afford at the time. It was terrifying even investing in that for me. I was super broke, but I figured it out, and I learned a lot about serving a niche market. And one of the things that we're not going to talk about today, but I will just mention it quickly, is that if you don't know if you don't know what your ideal clients want, or you don't know how to word it on social media, you can always ask them in a survey on SurveyMonkey. And the act alone of putting a survey out into the world is a very interesting thing. It positions you as an expert in your field, whether or not those people even take your survey. And I would have never even thought of doing a survey, because I thought that when you ask too many questions, you look like you don't know what you're doing. But actually the opposite is true. When someone comes at you and asks you questions, you position yourself as more of an expert in your field, and you show them that you care. Because like they say, I'm sure you've heard this quote a bajillion times, and I'm going to say it again, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So a survey is powerful for so many reasons. And it is a great way to attract your ideal clients on social media. All right. So yeah, okay. So this is another one. This is kind of down the caring thing, but when you get really in your head and that perfectionism comes out and you're like, I really want to put a post on social media and I know what I want to say, but I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. And I'm not sure if this is the right picture. And should I do a selfie or should I do a video or should I take a picture of my feet up in my living room? Like, and you just start getting really in your head about it. Just go back to the core message. Like, what is the value in the message that you're sharing? How is it going to help people? And then forget the rest and just post it, because they won't remember that you posted. They won't remember that you had a hair out of place, or you had, you didn't have your glam makeup on, or, there was something, messy on the couch in the picture. They'll just remember that you cared enough to share something with them that helps them. That's all they're going to remember. Like, if you could think right now of your top 5 favorite people on social media, like, you'd probably be able to just think of who they are and what they stand for and why they matter to you. You probably wouldn't be able to tell me the last thing that you saw that they posted. You just know that you like them because they post stuff that you find interesting or helpful. And so that will be you, the more you trust yourself, that you're there to serve and that you're not there to be perfect, right? So I hope that helps you guys get over the perfectionism a little bit around social media. And stop following people who look perfect. By the way, if you're following a lot of people who look perfect, stop. They're not helping you get over your social media hurdles. Okay? All right. So yeah, so one of my favorite authors and podcast hosts, his name is Pat Flynn. He has a podcast called Smart Passive Income. Amazing podcast. Definitely dive into it in the coming days if you're finding yourself with some free time. So back to your list that you guys just made, whatever that looked like on paper, if any of you would be comfortable with sharing who you serve, and if you happen to be able to think of a personal story about why that particular person is who you want to serve, that would be amazing. And I would really appreciate you unmuting yourself and sharing right now.
All right, I'll be brave. Jump in.
Thanks, Paulette.
You actually helped me just narrow my niche, which I've been struggling with for 4 years. So thank you. I don't know what you said, but it actually just all, like, my page is messy. Like, look at the lines and everything.
Awesome.
And at the end of the day, it was people who have health struggles, whether that be mental or physical or emotional.
Wow.
And when you told me to think about my favorite clients, it was the dad that got divorced, but he had chronic health concerns. It was the mom who's trying to keep her shit together while she struggles with bipolar and depression. It's the person that's hoarding for level 4 and 5. It's the lady who has agoraphobia and then tells me that she's now joined her garden club at her condo over the year we've worked together. So for me, I just realized it's all the people that struggle. Like, they have their moms, their dads, their, professionals, but they've all had a huge life transition for either physical, emotional, or mental. Yeah. So thank you for that.
That's cool. And everything you just said is, you start saying that kind of stuff on social media, like just how you just said it. Like, wow, that's powerful. There's going to be people that resonate with that and feel comfortable with you because you're dealing with people like them already. Like, they're not weird. They're not different. They're not crazy. They're kind of normal to you because that's your go-to. Those are your people. You're like, I got you. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Colette.
No, thanks. I literally have been struggling with this for 4 years.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
So my market is also working with families. So my ideal, niche is busy families, but specifically working moms. So being able to go in and help them with the overwhelming amount of things that come along with kids. So whether it be equipment as babies, or, clothes that kids are quickly growing out of as toddlers and preschoolers, or all of the toys that come along as well. I've worked with clients where I've gone to their homes and they have literally like mountains of boxes of clothes that their kids have grown out of, that they just do not have the time of day to go through themselves. So that's the niche market that I try to target.
Yeah. And you're doing an amazing job on social media. So I'm kind of flattered that you're even here. You should probably be teaching this, but
I don't
yeah,
think
you've been doing great. Great.
Thanks, Lyndsie.
Yeah. What, like, while you're talking, like, share a little bit of, some of the secrets to your success. Like, you dove into Instagram while you were in fempreneur marketing school, I think, and you just have been off and running. Like, how are you staying motivated to post? Like,
I try to do all of my posts targeted to young families, specifically moms. So for example, right now on my social media, I'm doing a 30-day declutter challenge, but for every category or every item that I'm suggesting for people to declutter or organize, I always incorporate something to do with kids or families. So for instance, today it was socks and underwear. So I was talking about kids' socks and underwear and how to get them to organize it on their own. I also try to engage a lot with moms on these social sites, especially groups that are just moms. For example, there's, and I benefit from this a little bit because I am a mom. I've already been a part of these groups for a little while. But for example, one of the groups on Facebook is Calgary Moms.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a part of that before I was an organizer, and now being in that community sort of helps me with my niche market and getting a feeler for what they may be having challenges with.
Fantastic. We're going to talk a bit about engagement in a minute, so I'm glad you brought that up. You can probably chime in on that and tell us how you're engaging with people. Cool. Okay, let's go over here. I would like a couple shares from everyone. I'd like to know a specific thing that you want to learn or improve over the next 1 to 2 months. So this is kind of you getting a little accountability around you from the women that are here today. They might check in on you. I might check in on you and see how it's going. We might also give you, a big high five on your Facebook page or Instagram or wherever you're posting when we see that you've done something that you wanted to do. So this is a cool way to get the accountability, but also the cheerleaders, and sometimes just saying something aloud to a group of people really light the fire under your butt to actually go out and do it. So if there's something specific that you can think of, and this is something that wouldn't have a bunch of micro goals under it necessarily, it would be, it wouldn't be like start an online course. Like that's like massive, right? This would be something simple like, post 3 times a week, start sharing pictures of myself on my Instagram, spend 20 minutes a day actually having conversations with the right kind of people on my Facebook, like in Facebook groups, or maybe, things like that. So if you think of something, feel free to just unmute yourself and shout it out, and I will be putting your name below.
Well, I can share. This is something that we learned in the marketing school about using video. And that's something that I haven't felt comfortable with doing, although I do have a video that my partner in marketing school shot for me. And I'm still struggling with editing it and and getting it out there on social media. But that's one of the things that I want to improve and continue to learn about over the next 1 to 2 months, and then just start posting more videos online.
Excuse me. I want to just jump in for a quick sec because this has been on my mind since the last time we talked about this. But, for example, I have that long 4.5-minute video of us when we were on CTV News last week. And what I've been doing is just grabbing little, 15, 30-second clips from that video and just putting them on my stories kind of, intermittently. So I feel like you've got this big goal, Debbie, that's like, take my big video and edit it and put it as a big video on social media. And so what I would encourage you to do is think of taking even just 1 minute. It doesn't have to be 1 minute that's all 1 minute. It can be, a couple different 30-second clips that are kind of your favorite, or even breaking it down into 15 or 30-second clips to share instead of, trying to do something with all of it at once. I'm sure you've already thought of that, but I feel like that's something that you could do, you know what I mean? Like in just the video editor on your phone without putting it into a software.
Right. Thank you for that, because you're right. I have been thinking bigger picture as opposed to cutting
you
it
might
up.
be thinking like full feature YouTube video, and I'm thinking like grab a few of your favorite little chunks where you say something really awesome or something really helpful, awesome meaning helpful, and
Okay.
Well,
thanks for that suggestion.
You're welcome. I'm gonna say share 1 minute of my long video on social channels. Are you sharing on your stories yet, Debbie?
I've only done the stories once or twice. So that's definitely one thing that I need to work on more.
Okay, no pressure, but I'm putting this week just because I know you. I won't do this to everybody, just to Debbie, because I know she can do it.
Thank you.
No pressure to anyone but Debbie. Anyone else have a sort of tangible, they call them the SMART goals. What is it? Specific, measurable, actionable, I don't know. One of those goals.
I can go. I've been telling myself that I've been going to do this forever, but it's automating my posts. There's been too many days where at the end of the night, I sit there pulling my hair out because I'm going to post something tomorrow, but I don't know what it is. And Lyndsie knows very well how much of a perfectionist I am. So if I could just sit down one day and write out a post for a month and actually set them up on a program, that would be a big goal for me.
I was just going to say, I'm going to do your suggestion of a Survey Monkey and see how I can get more people to come to my Ask an Organizer Wednesday night Facebook Lives. So thanks for that.
Awesome. You're welcome. That makes me very happy.
Lyndsie, this is Diana here.
Hi, Diana.
Hi. In the past, when I've used SurveyMonkey, there's a limit of 100 responses.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So if you're looking at doing something bigger than that, I'm curious what platform you would use.
I just create a new survey, create a copy of that survey.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Keep rolling with it. That's what I do.
Okay, because someone had said Google was the way to go, but I've never. Okay, that's a
and there might even be better tools out there. So if you guys are discovering things that are working well, please tell me, because I kind of tend to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it is my motto. I just keep doing the same thing. So you have just set a goal / committed yourself to doing this.
Yes, I have.
What are we calling this? Favorite organizing tool survey?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to come up with some different questions. I don't know if it's an organizing tool or if it's a routine that keeps you organized, or I'll come up. I'll do a survey first to see the popular questions, and then we can each answer the question, and I'll put a document together and send it out to everyone, and then you can do with it what you want.
Cool.
Okay.
That's a great idea. By the way, if you guys have never used Canva before, you're kind of seeing it being used live, obviously. It's a great way to build whatever, you can choose the size of the image that you're creating in here. And I'm using the presentation size right now, but you can get the Instagram size, right? Square, or I'm sure a lot of you guys have used Canva, but for those of you who haven't, it is free and awesome. Let's get a couple more. Anybody have anything that they want to, just say, like something I want to learn or improve or even do, if it's an action item?
One thing I didn't mention is actually, as a side gig right now, I am a social media manager for another company.
Nice.
So this is good just to get some balls rolling here. But I just wanted to make a comment. I think that my biggest, I feel like I understand most of this, but I think my biggest thing is my perfectionism. And creating content for someone who is not me and trying to figure out who they are is a totally different story as well. But I did want to comment on Debbie's thing about the video. Video is something I've avoided for the 3.5 years that I've done professional organizing. I have avoided videos like the plague. And now that I'm working for someone who requires it, I've been like thrown into it without the option of not doing it. And that was a surprise to me as well, that I can do like 12-second little video clips and they get 20 times the engagement of a little other post. Like, it's insane. So I guess my SMART goal would be to just get into doing regular videos for myself as well.
Can we make this even more like deadline-y? Can we say like post a video sometime in the next 7 days?
I would say like make it a weekly thing, but yeah, get it up in the next week for sure.
Sweet. Gosh, I like how brave you guys are. It's fantastic. You're inspiring each other to do more, be more. It's awesome. Thank you. One more, please, because there's a gap here, and those of you who are perfectionists are not going to be okay with this gap here. So
mine is a little bit more simplistic. This is Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Mine is to learn more about the best platforms to use for what I'm trying to do. Right? Is that Instagram? Is it this video that you're talking about? I'm familiar with SurveyMonkey, but in terms of the actual tools, Mark, you were saying, oh, now I can do this video and it's automatic. What are the platforms that best serve, and how do you keep up to date with all these new things that are coming out?
Great. That's a big one. It's a big one. We're going to get there, though, a little bit, which I think will help you with this. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that means that the rest of the stuff that I have for you is actually going to help you. So thanks, Bonnie. All right. Tips for social media efficiency. Like you were saying, Bonnie, where the hell do I focus? Right? Like, which of these things should I even be trying to, invest time in? So my recommendation is choose one, get great at it, or at least comfortable with it. You're never going to be great at it. We're never great at social media because we always feel like we're not doing enough. It's a natural feeling. Just get used to it, right? It's just like, you're never going to feel like, I've got this. Like, it's a constant source of anxiety, and you just have to learn how to flip it the bird and say, I am doing something of value on social media, and that is amazing, and I'm happy with that. But let's do something amazing of value on one platform and start to feel like we've got a little bit of the groove, and then we can start to take those things that we know that we're comfortable with doing onto another platform. And we could literally look back on the stuff we posted for the last, say, week, 2 weeks, month, or whatever. We can just recycle that same stuff, because even though some of the people will be on, say, LinkedIn that just saw our last month of Facebook posts, they didn't see every single post because the algorithms don't work that way. They don't allow someone to see every single post you make. And so if you recycled all those things that you just posted on Facebook over the past month and you put them onto your LinkedIn now and kind of space them out similarly and shared them in a slightly different way, maybe you could, you're creating content once and using it on multiple platforms. I mean, if it's time sensitive because of, current events and things going on in the world, obviously you can't keep reusing that. But if it's you taking your brain and your helpful tips and the value you have to offer, you can always be reusing that stuff and tweaking it a little bit, popping into Canva and creating a different image for the same, commentary, the same story, or the same, how to or questions or whatever, right? So, oh, there's a K in week. So I would get comfortable posting 5 times a week on one of the platforms. And in that same platform, you don't want to just be posting, right? Because it's about relationship, it's about conversation. So that's what engagement is. Engagement is conversations and building relationships. And how you do that looks different depending on the platform that you're on. But it always involves likes. But that's like basic. That's kind of like glancing in someone's direction at a party. Like, you want to go one level higher if you actually want to you want to engage them. You want to smile and you want to ask them a question. And you don't have to actually ask them a question on social media, but it's similar to that. If you're, say, at a party, a lot of people use the analogy that social media is like a party. You don't want to be the know-it-all, so you don't always want to be teaching. You don't want to be selling all the time, right? You don't want to be the funny guy all the time, or people are like, what do they actually do for a living, right? You want to have a nice mix of all the things. And one of them is absolutely asking great questions. But for engagement, comments are huge. So saying something that's relevant to the post that you're seeing, giving them a high five. You can absolutely ask a question in a comment. I think it's a great idea too, as long as it's a genuine question that you actually have. What I often do is I say, hey, I have a question for you about this, blah, 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 but I'm going to send it to you in a DM. And then I'll actually DM them. So that's level 3 engagement. Level 1 is like, level 2 is a comment of some sort with a question or just a high five, hey, great job. I mean, the hey, great jobs and the things that don't say something specific about the post, that sounds very, like, I'm sure you've heard the term bot, but there are actual robots, and it's basically computer programs that can go out and make comments on every single post that has this particular hashtag. And you don't want to sound like a bot. You want to sound like a human. So you want to say, what a beautiful picture. I love all the oranges and reds and the fall leaves. Something that a bot couldn't say. You know what I mean? So that's engagement. So once you've nailed that 5 times a week of posting and 20 minutes a day of engaging with, your audience, and that's including, following new people. If you're on LinkedIn, you're adding new connections. You're sending messages, thank you messages to people who follow you. So when you get a new follower, you'll actually pop into your messages, whatever platform you're on, and say, hey, thanks for the follow, or hey, thanks for, accepting my invitation to be a LinkedIn connection, and whatever that is. So once you've gotten good at one platform, move to the second one, and there's literally no right or wrong as far as the order goes. And I mean, maybe for us, if I sat down with you one-on-one, I would recommend a specific one because of something that you said to me about your personality or your time or your goals. But for the most part, it's like, just do a good job of one and then take that stuff that that's working well and move it into the next platform. I have a feeling we're going to want to talk about this one. So we're going to come back to this. Of course, Q&A is starting right away here. I'm just about done with what I've got. So if you have any questions about social media efficiency and platforms, tools like SurveyMonkey, Canva, all that, we're going to open the floor to questions in a sec here. This is something that I just kind of added the last minute because I thought it would be neat for us to do some brainstorming given what's going on in the world right now. Some new ways that you can serve your clients, or some new ways, now that you know a little bit about each other and your niche, and those of you who shared, you're probably going to get the most love here because we all know what you're up to and who you want to serve. If you have an idea for someone else that you've heard, share, mention it right now. I'd love to hear you guys' ideas on how can we serve our ideal clients right now while they're stuck at home by not physically going to their home. What are some ideas that you guys have, or maybe some things you plan on doing that you'd like to share?
One of my current social media clients is actually, she's in the travel business, which is really, really bad right now. But what she told me to go for is, she's a mom and she targets other parents. And she said, just throw up ideas as like, how do we keep kids busy during this time? Like really veering off course for what she normally sells, but like connecting with people on a heart level. And I really liked that because sometimes you can't, like right now, organizing, we're not selling our actual time because we're not going into people's homes, except for the virtual organizing. But sometimes it's okay to be like, I see you, I understand this is hard, like this is what we're going through together, and it doesn't have to be necessarily on topic. So that's kind of the direction I'm thinking of going, is just helping people to feel seen and heard right now.
I like that you said that. That's really where my head is at right now. Also, because I think when the smoke clears, those of us who didn't hide under our desks and watch Netflix and disengage are the people that have attracted, we have the opportunity to grow our audience, and not even our audience, but our relationships, and build deeper relationships with people. Because like you said, when you help people feel seen and heard, and you don't continue to try to sell your product or service, even though you've repackaged it into an ebook or a video training or whatever, like if you just literally stay engaged and show that you care, you're that person that when we can start coming together again, like physically, you're the person that they're ready to hire already because they love you, right? You didn't leave them, and you didn't keep talking to them about your business the whole time. So I love that you said that. That's fantastic.
Talking about blogging, I was thinking of writing a blog this week about what you can be doing at home right now in terms of trying to organize your spaces, right? Or, people are probably thinking about getting close to thinking about spring cleaning and all that kind of thing. So I was just going to, just sort of write something that sort of helps people realize that, oh my gosh, there's lots we can do around the house, so that once this is all over, we feel, you feel like you've gotten something done, and then they won't be on your plate anymore, in a month or two, when things hopefully go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another, a blogging idea that I had.
Mm-hmm. So blogging about spring cleaning and preparing for when life goes back to normal. I don't know if that's how you want to say it, but yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I've been meaning to build this for the YYC fempreneurs for all the grads too. And so it's because they're asking for this too, right? They're like, I want like a 1 page on the website where I can literally go and I get alphabetical list of the names. And then I want another page where I can go and I can see a headline of what the hell they do. And then like, you know what I mean? Like we have these personal trainers. Oh, but she's also listed under the podcast production because she does that and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like people will be listed. So I have a vision for the YYC fempreneurs. And I feel like you guys totally have a page like that on, I don't know where. I guess you don't have your own website for POC Calgary. But yeah, so I think that we do need to do a better job of cross-referring each other. But it also can be difficult when we don't necessarily feel like we're really sure who to refer to. So I hope tonight, if nothing else, has helped you guys get to know each other a little bit, because that's, I think, where we start to feel so much more empowered and supported, is when we know, like when we post something on social media, someone has our back and they're going to be like, that was an awesome post, and they're going to like it, and they're going to maybe tag a friend in it or whatever, right? That's the stuff that fuels our fire and helps us do more of this entrepreneur stuff that is so hard sometimes, right? So I'm happy to hear all of the things that you guys are talking about right now. It's fantastic. Does anyone have any other ideas they want to share, or some new ways that maybe you can serve your one thing that I'm not hearing is ebook and video training and things like, is that on anybody's radar?
I have one, and I'm switching it into a virtual organizing course, but it's like a really slow process because I'm teaching myself.
Okay.
And it's not a huge money maker, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's hugely successful. So anyway,
so you have an ebook or you have a video course?
I have an ebook that I'm currently getting to put into a video, but my ebook is a do-it-yourself, like on systems and creating that.
Nice.
So I was trying to, but a lot of people have asked it to be an audio book, but because it's a do-it-yourself, the person helping me is saying it's not going to transfer well into an audio book. So they're suggesting they do it more of a virtual organizing course.
Hopefully everybody has MailChimp or some sort of email gathering system. And if you're thinking of blogging, whatever you're thinking of blogging, I'd like you to maybe think of turning that into an ebook. And, if you don't really understand maybe why I'm so excited about ebooks, I think pop over to the YYC Fempreneur website. There's always a free ebook there. And every time I write a new one, the one that was free goes into the store for $9.99. They're like 20 to 30 pages long, tons of meat, lot of like excerpts from the new book, but also just like excerpts from the new book and then elaborating on it. There's clickable links to videos. And this is stuff you can do in Canada for free. So when you're thinking like, blog or ebook, if you've got blogs already, I would switch gears over the next little while and start putting out an ebook. The other reason it's important to do that is that if you have an ebook and it's something that is $9.99 value or $19.99 or whatever, the moment that that's no longer free, it goes into a store and people see that, they're like, oh, well, if I don't get this, I'll miss and it's not free anymore, right? But the other thing that you do is your free ebook links them to the past ebooks. It becomes kind of like a chain of like, this builds on this and this builds on this and this builds on this, right? And this is all stuff that you can do completely for free. You can build everything I've just described for free. And so if you have the passion to blog, to share your value with people, you can still monetize it. I mean, it's great. You got to have free stuff on your website. Absolutely. I'm not saying monetize every little bit of your brain, but there's definitely a time and a place to monetize and then to give for free. And you should not always be giving everything away for free that you're writing, because you're giving them checklists, you're giving them processes and systems that you've spent tons of time and energy. And I mean, I know that a lot of people are broke and scared to spend money, but if they see value in it, they're going to drop $9.99 or $19.99 on it. That's not a ton of money. Right? And they have the time right now to organize their house or to organize a specific thing. Give them the tool, but make sure that there's like, a suite of tools and not all of them are free. That's just a little sort of, I just had to preach that because I feel like a lot of you guys have tons of value that you could put into an ebook or even a little video training series. And there's definitely some tech tools and things there that maybe if you wanted to monetize more heavily, you'd probably need to invest in a couple things. But for the most part, you can do ebooks for free. Okay, 7:34. I want to make sure we have lots of time for Q&A. So I'm going to just open up the floor to questions. I've got a couple ebooks, like I said, available at ybcfempreneur.com. I'll reference those again if anything comes up in the Q&A part.
Or it's a bit of a struggle that I have. So I've just sort of launched, I've launched my website at the beginning of the year, and I'm focusing on Facebook and LinkedIn right now. And I struggle with how to analyze certain results, like, what posts have done really well or not, and how I can get more engagement. I guess I just struggle with the monitoring and the analysis of the different platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So you have a business Facebook page.
Yes.
And you have an Instagram for business, or you're just Facebook, LinkedIn right now?
Instagram for business, and a LinkedIn for business, and a website.
Okay. What platform is your website on?
It's on WordPress.
WordPress. So you hired someone to build it for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I did all the content, but
okay.
Yeah.
I can't help you with WordPress. WordPress is
it's not. I'm not worried about that. I have a Google. My web guy is great with the Google analysis. It's more the social stuff, like
so more your Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah. What are we supposed to be paying attention to and monitoring and analyzing? Like, what's working, what's not? Like, what would the key things that you would say we should pay attention to?
Well, the key things that I would say you need to pay attention to is your LinkedIn profile itself and what it looks like. After that, it's just a matter of engaging with the right people. That blurb, that about section of your LinkedIn profile, like I had mentioned at the beginning, that is so important. That's the number one thing people look at. They may not even look at your work experience. They may just read that and be like, can she string sentences together? And can I relate to her? And do I think I would like to have a beer with her or no? Like, it's like basic, hi, how are you in that one section. So you can often just tell by how many people are engaging with it, right? So are they liking it is kind of like a halfway signal, but are they commenting on it, right? And then are they sharing it? And then are you getting new LinkedIn connections? So that's kind of LinkedIn over there, right? Facebook page, same thing. You should be able to pop into your analytics and see which posts are getting the most engagement. And when you see posts that are getting a lot of engagement, in my opinion, it makes sense to throw $5 or $10 into a Facebook ad on that post, right? And target a specific age group and gender, for example, and geographical area.
and boost that particular post. So would you leave that post for like a few days and see how well and if it's doing well, then boost it?
Yeah, I don't boost posts until I see that they're actually like, so I'll look back on my week of posts, and the one that had the most just organic engagement for whatever reason, whether I chose a great hashtag, whether the words I used were great. Like sometimes we just don't know, right? We might have posted it at a time of day that was just, people were all staring at their phones and I just got a lot of sets of eyeballs. Like we can't always really know what's going on. And it's not something that I spend a lot of time on. It's not something that I really think about. So for the most part, if something's working, I'll boost it. And if it's getting crickets, I'll assume it was either a bad time of a day and I might post it again 2-3 weeks from now. Like I was saying, I might put the image, the first sentence. If I feel like it's a valuable message and it just kind of missed people somehow, I'll try to tweak it and repost it later. I would never boost something like that though, because for whatever reason, it kind of got crickets.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't know if that helps you or not, but as far as website stuff, like it sounds like your SEO is all sorted out. And
yeah, it is. It's more the what to pay attention to on social, and if it's just paying attention to engagement and more likes and comments, that's helpful, because there's all this analytics behind it that I'm like, what's important to me? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, another thing too is sometimes people are engaging with a post, but there's no way for them to take action. So be careful that your post that you might want to boost is actually clearly showing a way to take action. And that's why I wrote this ebook here, this How to Provide Natural Next Steps. This one's going to be free on YYC Fempreneurs for another day or two. And that one talks about providing those natural next steps and making sure that they have a way. And right now, we may not be wanting to sell to people because we just want to make people like Margie said, feel seen and heard. But we can get their email addresses right now by offering them something for free. So if you have MailChimp, have something on the homepage of your website that's like, I just wrote a really great spring cleaning checklist with some, before and after pictures to help you get a visual of how you can start lifting your house for when life is normal. Type in your email address and your name and your bank yours, right? So you can start doing things like that now, because then you're growing your audience. So-and-so downloads it, tells her friend, this is freaking awesome. You should go to her website and get it. Oh, you got another email address on your list now, right? Like use this time to find new people, right?
So always have a call to action, like go to the website, or here's a link to a post, or ask a question. So always some kind of call to action.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And if you have a post that's working well and you're thinking about boosting it because it got really good engagement, but it doesn't have a call to action, pop in and add a call to action for more information about this, or to grab my free ebook and then boost it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my question is really around how do we figure out, because Facebook changes the algorithms all the time. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And then your post never gets seen. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt that was a really good, brilliant idea and no one saw it.
Yeah.
So do you have recommendations on what hashtags that are going to work for Facebook, or how to get them out?
Well, for hashtags, I mean, with Facebook, you want to use 3 to 5 hashtags. And of course, with Instagram, you can use up to 30. For hashtags, I always try to use a mix of kind of location specific and personal interest specific. So I'm always targeting Calgary area business owners. So I use YYC Fempreneurs, which is kind of our hashtag. But I also will use Boss Babe YYC, Mompreneur YYC. I'll use those kind of words that are 2-in-1 hashtags, like mom and business owner YYC. I'll use as many of those as possible, but sometimes I'll just hashtag Calgary, Alberta, and then the next hashtag that I'm using in the same post is mompreneur. So that's mompreneurs is a personal interest thing, and then location wise it's Calgary. So that's what I do, and I don't know, it seems to be working.
Thank you.
It's trial and error, right? You just kind of keep trying things. It's like fishing. If you don't keep fishing, you're never going to catch anything. And when you catch one, you're like, oh, what did I do there? Oh, I did that. Okay, well, just write that down. And the nice thing about all the analytics is, especially with Instagram, you can hit that view insights. You see the posts that you have that are killing it. And then you look at those hashtags and you're like, oh, right? And sometimes you'll get a new follower and you know instantly that follower came from a particular hashtag that you use. You just know because it's just obvious. For some of you watch, like, you might not understand what I'm talking about, but you will, so don't feel like you need to right now. But yeah, I mean, it's hashtags are powerful, you guys, for sure. Yeah, my YouTube channel has a lot of info on it too. There's some teaching, there's some inspirational stuff. Sometimes the podcast episodes are actually recorded as videos. You can watch the video of the interview. There's lots of stuff there, so it's, you can find me quite easily there. Once again, this one's free for a couple more days, then it'll be replaced by another free one. This one isn't free, but it's there. It's how to create your ebook, an ebook about creating ebooks. And yeah, that's what else should we scroll up to see if we have any questions about any of this stuff here? Yeah, just keep remembering this, you guys, too. Like, don't get too caught in the weeds with details. Just remember that if you're posting stuff and you clearly care about your audience and you're talking to a specific group of people, that's going to be what people remember.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to mention, Melanie, before I turn it over to you to wrap it up, I will have a link where you guys can grab this recording. There's also going to be a survey there, and I'd love to know specifically what you're going to do differently or what you learned or whatever, anything that you can give to me for feedback in that survey. And you're going to have to complete that survey. It'll be like 3 questions in order to get this recording. And yeah, so thank you for doing that. I love, love, love knowing how I can improve. So please don't be shy. Tell me. Shoot me straight.
Awesome. Thanks, Lyndsie. Anybody else have any questions before I do the draw for the night to win Lyndsie's book? Oh, gotta just make a comment. Feel more relaxed about it. I want to let my expertise. Oh, cool. Noreen just commented that she feels more relaxed about social media and wants to, yeah, let her expertise and personality shine. So that's amazing.